Mize and Michael Hicks are going to be doing a training for everyone on. They're going to be doing a training on video recording and how to transfer that to social media and some other logistics with video recording and taking pictures and getting those transferred to social media. I suspect that this will last an hour, and that's the time that I have allotted for this. So I'm going to turn it over to them.
Hey, hello everybody. How you doing? Rob and I are here in the Rock Quarry Studios. I don't know if any of you have ever seen the Extension Video Studios, but I thought it would be interesting to have this in the background for you guys to see, and just to let you know that Rob and I are both fully vaccinated, so we're having the luxury of being able to work like we used to. So we're going to go ahead and go to the PowerPoint now, and I'm going to walk you through what you need to know before we get into Premiere. The first thing you really need to do, I know most of you are going to be working with GoPros, is how to get that footage out of the GoPro so you can get it into a computer. There's three basic options. One, you can use Quick, which is the software that comes from GoPro. It manages everything, and I just don't like it. It does some extra features like editing, but you should be using Adobe Premiere to do the editing. The other way to do it is to use the Windows Auto Launch feature, which is kind of cool, and it almost does what I want, except I have to change the settings on my GoPro to make it compatible. The first two methods that you can get footage out of the GoPro, I just don't like. And ironically, if you go to the GoPro site, you can see that they recommend using a card reader. So you want to know how to use the card reader. The first thing you need to do is you got to take the card out of the camera. An older camera like the one on the left, you have to take out of its plastic casing. A newer camera you have to open up. There's a secret trap door where the battery is, and the card's right in there. What you also have to do is you have to have an SD card adapter. In case people don't know what an SD card adapter is for the mini SD card, you're going to need that for almost every card reader that you have. All you do is just put it in a card reader. Here's a pro tip I picked up using the jargon from GoPro's website. So if it doesn't automatically pop up, you can hit the window key and the E key, and that should make File Explorer pop up. And then all you do is on the left-hand side of the sidebar, you just sort of navigate down until you find the card. You go into the folder that is DCIM, and inside there's going to be some subfolders. Normally I only have one, but if I do a lot of photos along with the video, I might have two. And from there you just drop and drag that to where you want to store it on your computer. I really try to keep everything in one folder for a project. I think that's very important. The other source you guys have for getting footage given to you is from iPhones. And what you could probably do is make sure and suggest to the people shooting that footage that they record it at 1080, 30 frames per second or higher. That's useful in the editing process. They have things more uniform. If someone shoots 4K, that's good. If it's only a lecture or something, I would probably only shoot 1080 for file space. Okay, to get that footage now, that's a interesting question when you have a PC that you're trying to move the iPhone footage to. There's a bunch of different ways that kind of work like the GoPro camera itself would work, but never let anyone transfer the footage by sending it via text message. That just really compresses the video and it makes it harder to edit and it looks crummy. So what I really like is I like the way Apple has it integrated from their product into their computers. And that's really super easy. So what I tried to do is find a way that would be just as easy to use on Windows. And so to do that, I searched around. I actually tried out like 3 or 4 different apps. And I settled on this one because it met my 2 biggest criteria. I didn't need to pay for it, and I didn't have to put an app on the Windows computer. So, but there's a ton of other wireless ones. If you don't like the way this one works, just find a different one. But all I did is I installed it. It did ask for permissions to connect to the devices on my local network, and I had to allow it to access all the photos for it to work correctly. But once I did, then it generates, you can see this number up here, http:// different times it generated different numbers, but you type that in exactly in your web browser and voila. You'll have something that looks like this, and you can navigate through the different pages of photo and just click the download buttons for the ones you want to move to the computer. Now I have a couple of pro tips for you guys on PowerPoints. If you're making the PowerPoints for someone, make sure and use those widescreen templates. You want a 16:9 template. There's a couple of locations where you can get the MU extension templates, and also there's some Mizzou identity branded templates that are out there for you to use. Rob's going to paste those into the those links into the chat so that you can copy them easily, because there's no way you could write these down. I really feel that for most of the work that support staff should be doing, you should not have to learn how to use a different graphics program. Hopefully you're already familiar with PowerPoint. If a presenter made a presentation and one of your specialists recorded it and wants you to post it, just ask for a copy of that PowerPoint and export the slides so you can use them in the video edit. To do that on Windows, and I'm sorry I don't have screenshots for this, but I didn't have a Windows machine to grab them off of, you just go to the Design tab and you click on the slide size and select Custom Size. For the width, you enter 20 inches, and for the height, you enter 11.25. And I'll make this PowerPoint available after the presentation, so you don't have to worry about writing this stuff down. You click OK, then you click on the File tab, you click Export from the menu on the left, and then you change the file type button. You click that and you change it to PNG, okay? And that will export. It'll give you an option of where you're exporting them to. It puts everything in a folder. The name of the folder will match the name of the PowerPoint presentation, and inside there it'll just say slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. Now there's some other resources that you need to make sure and be aware of. If you haven't visited our extension photo and video page, you should look there. And we're working on getting a few things updated that you need to know about. And Rob pasted that one into the chat. And there's also a production toolbox where Rob keeps a lot of elements that you can use in Premiere that are very useful. And there's also, if you have questions about, should I be using the logo this way? What are the Mizzou identity standards? There's a link for that. It's pretty easy. It's just identity.missouri.edu. And there's a lot of information there that's useful, such as the primary color palette for MU Gold. because a lot of times you need to be able to type in the RGB numbers. And of course black is super easy because it is just black. It's 0, 0, 0. Now, as I kind of alluded to before, what I do when I'm doing projects is I just build everything into one folder. And that's very important because during COVID I would work on things at home, but I would need to transfer them to the server here, and you want all those elements, all the pieces of that project to be together, because you never know when you have to go back and you have to update that. So I'm going to try to, from my other account, I'm going to share the screen and I'm going to start showing you how to do some of this stuff for why you're really here in Premiere. And what I first do is I just would select New Project, and then I normally name it something to do with the project. I'm just going to call this one Today. And then you can pick where that's stored at. Because this is my laptop and I do a lot of the work at home and I transfer it later, I just keep a hard drive, external hard drive. And so I'm going to put it in with the stuff I have for today. And the other thing that you might want to check is your scratch disk. I keep all of those the same as the project. That just keeps things nice and organized. Now there's two main ways that you can import footage. The way I kind of like to do it is I just go to the desktop, and let me get into and I just take the footage. I've already downloaded some GoPro and iPhone footage into this one, as you can see here, and I like to name that so it's organized, and I just drop it in and it imports it. The other thing you can do is you can pick Import, and I'm going to just bring these graphics in also, so I would just import those. It's pretty easy to get the stuff into Adobe Premiere. And then on footage, I'm going to take this quick GoPro movie I shot, and I want to do some editing on that. So what I do is I just right click, I scroll down to New Sequence from Clip. That takes all the settings and everything from, I got to move the zoom bar so I can see all the settings, and it just sets everything up most of the time correctly. These little ones here you can move so you can see things better if you need to. Just move that up a little bit. I notice here that the audio is probably low, so if you need to adjust that, if you play the audio, are we seeing the yeah, you can see the meters at the side. I can't see them because the zoom's covering up, but if those meters aren't peaking close to 0, what you do is you just go down and you select audio gain, and if it's too loud, you put a negative number in. If you need to make it louder, you put a positive number in. I'm going to put in 6, and I'm going to add that. You see the wave here looks better, and if I play that, you can see now that the meters are getting a lot closer to 0. There's also this line here. It's kind of hard to see, but if I move it, you can probably see it. So you can move that line to adjust the audio. I get it close with adjusting the gain, and then I tweak it with this line. Okay, you have different tools over here that you can use. I'm using this triangle select tool right now. With that tool, you can trim the beginning and the end of a clip just by going there and trimming it. Now, if you need to add graphics inside my PowerPoint, I have the slides from today. You can just grab those PowerPoint slides and drop them on the timeline like such. And then you can just make it longer if you need to, and then that will just play out. If you want to put a dissolve on the PowerPoint slide, you can just apply default transition, and that should just put a nice fade there for you. Now, the other thing is, you might be wondering what happens when you mix different size footage. So this right now is a HD timeline. I exported a little clip from my phone that was shot in 4K. If I drop it here, which funny clip because I had my grandson over and I made him do the dishes, and I recorded it to send to my daughter to show him doing chores at my house. He doesn't do at hers. But I know that that's not the correct size right now. So if I double click on that, you see in this viewer, you see what it should look like. Next to it, there's this effects control, and there's this toggle here called scale. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull it down. I'm looking at the viewer, and once I see black on all the edges, you just increase the size until it covers up, but you see all the video, which is actually, I'm just going to type in 50 because I know that's what this needs. Now you see all the footage. It's mixed on the timeline. Premiere is great. This stuff basically just plays. Now, the other thing that you might need to know how to do, and if I pulled from the production toolbox this key, and so if I drop that here on the timeline, you can see that looks like I can just put my name on it now, right? So all you got to do is pick the text tool, and you can just click, but I like to draw a box because it's a little easier for me to manage. And I draw a box, and I type in my name. If you don't like the font, you need to change the font to match the standards. You just select everything. And right now, let's see. Where's my effects control? So in my effects control, you can see that under text, you have to put that down. That should probably not be that. Let's see. Adobe. Gotham is one that we go to a lot. Adobe, if you don't have Gotham, Adobe Arial is an acceptable one. Now if I go back and I hit my select tool, I can move that around to tweak it where it needs to be, as long as it's highlighted right here. And then that's a little offset because I wanted to see the bar when I made it, so you can just center it up. And then typically what I would do is I would just make on this lower black part, I normally put a job title. You might put university extension, you might put guest lecturer, you know, something that makes appropriate sense for that speaker. Another tool you need to know about is the razor tool. And if you want to cut a clip, and I'll change back to the triangle, and now I can say remove that. I said something that wasn't pertinent to keeping the presentation, and you can move the clip down. Oh, wait a minute, I'm going to undo that. Apple Z should undo that. A tool that I really like is if I click T on the keyboard, you get this tool, and that allows me to select everything towards the right, and then I change back to the triangle, and I can drag everything down. Now if you notice here, when this plays, there's sort of a jump there. Actually, it's called a jump cut. It looks very unnatural. Well, what I do to hide those is I just take, and I've something from the slideshow that makes sense for that part, and I just put that on top of there. So now it would just look like it was natural. You don't know that the audio is missing. The other thing is you're going to end up with people that will have done a PowerPoint presentation in the wrong format. And actually I created one there. You can see that's in the wrong format, and I see the sides. So you need a way to deal with that because you don't want to see the sides of the video showing through. So what I do is I just move that up a level, and then over here in graphics I pulled out of Rob's kit these two nice backgrounds, and that's in Rob's production toolbox. They're there for you to use, and you just drop that on there. And so now I'm not going to reformat somebody's PowerPoint slides. That could take a lot of time, and that distorts pictures. It really makes things not work out very well. So that's a quick solution of how you get around that. And let me look at my notes to see if I've been kind of plowing through this stuff fast, because I know 1 hour is not a lot of time. I think I covered the most of it. Also in Rob's production toolbox, he has this little slate movie, and I like at the end of things, presentations, you can put just, it's as simple as dropping it on like that. He has some that have audio on them, some that don't. You know, I might take this and like go right there, trim it back, put the default transition on it.
Over an hour, I think that's fine. It just, you know, as long as you guys have time. The other thing too is if we find that like we're having to rush through, we can always make this a 2-part series as well, just FYI.
Well, you know, I cut a lot of questions I know people are going to have after they get used to using this, thinking we're going to do a return visit. So
Perfect.
I'm just trying, I want to keep this simple so it's achievable, and that you can, you know, start doing it and grow some confidence with it. There's a lot of advanced things that you could also be doing that I'm just leaving out.
Yeah, it's easy to get in real deep, real quick. So, you know, find a simple little project, you know, like this that's just a few sources, and maybe include some of those graphic elements that we talked about, and get your feet wet with that. And then you'll just start exploring the program.
But here's the pre-built logo that you can put at the end of a video. That adds a little bit of nice polish to it. So that kind of walks you through quickly how to edit this stuff. Yeah, let me get back to I'm going to stop sharing that screen. Okay, and Rob's going to walk you through, now that you have done the edit. Well, I guess I did forget one. One thing I should probably show them is how to export that, right, Rob?
Yes.
Okay, let me get this out of the way. So once you're done, yeah, see, it's still in my way. Once you got it done, oh, something handy is you can zoom in by using Windows Plus, because it really helps if you are looking for, you need to cut between a gap on words. That can help you find that. And Shift Z should show you the entire timeline. So now that I have this done, you can just pick Export Media. And then there's a bunch of templates already built. And what I like to use is, if you're putting it on YouTube, I just use the one built for YouTube. Okay?
And really, if you're using it for anything,
yeah,
you know, that YouTube is a very friendly format that just virtually any video player, any computer will play it.
And then on, if I know I'm only going to Facebook, I've put ones I've rendered YouTube on Facebook, but if I know I'm only going to Facebook, I choose the Facebook one. But I just normally pick that. What can mess you up is if you set it, accidentally hit the I or the O key, you might have something on the timeline. I had this happen with a person the other day, and they didn't know that they had done that. If you want to make sure you got everything, you just do entire sequence. And all you do at that is then you click here and you pick a good name, and then you pick where you want that stored. I normally store it in here. I like using a separate folder, so I know that output, I just use that as sort of a video term, so I know that that's the finished product. I create that folder, I save the video to in there, and then I hit export. You can put it in a queue and have media encoder do it, but normally that stuff, I mean, that's going to run so fast that I normally just do it. I run my computer normally, the laptop, not my fast desktop, is normally exporting things in about half the run time. So if you got a 30-minute video, you can expect that it's going to take 15 to render. You know, but it all depends on your processor speed.
I'm going to talk a little bit about platforms for sharing that. We have two channels that we use, our extension and engagement channel, and also our general MU extension channel. This is more, and you can see this is like the regular YouTube landing page. And I don't want that. What I want is my channel. So I'm going to come over here to my profile icon and click my channel.
Before I became
and there we go. That's what I'm looking for.
I was working
And this is how we've set this up with various playlists
not making that much money. $10 an hour,
and some
struggling.
other channels that we subscribe to. If we want to manage this material, there's a couple of ways. We can go to YouTube Studio, and then we see our content a little bit differently. We've got a dashboard that gives us analytics on individual videos. We can see our content here, and it gives us some information that's quickly useful. You can also edit this from this page, so you can see all your content. I wanted to show you one thing here. Anytime I talk about YouTube, I always bring this up. People make great videos and they have particular music they want to use but may not have license to use. The same with video. People see video that they want to include and they may not have license for that. And as a result, if you publish that to YouTube, you are likely to get a copyright claim. The algorithms they use to find these and determine these are, to me, it's astounding. They work. And when you get this copyright claim, there can be a variety of consequences depending on the copyright holder. They can prevent your video from appearing on YouTube. They can perhaps put advertising on your video because you're using their material. If you were monetizing your channel, they could possibly take part of that revenue. So copyright claim is in general a hassle that you want to avoid. It can even result in you losing your YouTube channel and your account. So it's better just not to deal with it, and it usually occurs with music. And so we have a production service, Universal Production Music, that we subscribe to, and we can use this only for extension-related production. But we can use it for that. And there are literally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of tracks that you can browse here. And there's a variety of ways that they categorize these tracks. And I find it really, really useful. You don't have to log in order to sample these. You can just get on here, and I don't know if we've got audio coming from this computer, but anyway, these are available to us. And if you see something here on universalproductionmusic.com, Universal Production Music, if you see something on there and you get this number, this track ID, and the track title, and let Michael or me know that you would like that music to use for an MU extension production, we'll download that for you and get it your way. So you have this music, you put it on your video, and that goes up to YouTube, and then you see a copyright claim. So what you have to do then is challenge that copyright. So there is a process of going through that with YouTube where you basically present your validation for having license for that material. And it is something of a process. It's doable. Now, if you don't want to deal with that, you have another option. Here on your YouTube Studio, and I'm saying this assuming that you have a YouTube channel, a YouTube account, and a YouTube channel. And when you have that, you have access to YouTube's audio library. And it's pretty significant. They've got some good music on here, considering that it's absolutely free. You download that, and for most of this music, you can use it however you want to, as long as it's associated with that video. You can't collect this music, burn it to a CD, and then sell it. But you can use it in your productions. There are some licenses where people ask for attribution. They just want credit, that they are the author of the music. And I'm looking for one of those, and I'm not seeing any, because all these are just blanket license. So no attribution is required. If attribution is required, it's simply a matter of taking the author's name, the title of that song, and including that in the description of your video. So there is, let's see, there's YouTube. Once you get into this, you know, you can really do a lot to customize your channel. Ours is, you know, pretty conservative. We are, you know, a university office. Unlike...
Sir, your music's still playing in the background.
Oh, okay. Let me get rid of that. I think I lost it there. Or
yes.
Am I still hearing?
Just you now.
Make sure I have that paused. So there is YouTube, and then to customize your channel, you can choose that, and this is where you can build playlists, choose their arrangement, how you title them. Here you can assign a video to automatically play for returning subscribers and for new visitors to your site. Some branding information, some other information to describe your channel. So as you use your channel and use it, examine and explore those options and see what you can do with that. So as I said, we have our extension channel, and then we have another channel up here somewhere. That is University of Missouri Extension. And this is really more for material that comes from the field. We do have a lot of material that we share back and forth between the channels. But that is our reason for having the two distinct channels there. We also have the Panopto Platform. This replaces the Kaltura video platform that we had used for a number of years. It is, you know, for all practical purposes, gone now. We've migrated to Panopto. It is a folder-based kind of layout, and so it doesn't really have your, you know, familiar YouTube interface and look to it, but you are familiar with folder structure, so keep that in mind, and you can navigate the Panopto platform pretty easily. We do our live streams from here as well. We come in and create and schedule a webcast, and that gives us the target that we need and the links that we need to distribute to then do live streams from our studio here.
And I think we kind of prefer to go to Panopto if it is something that doesn't have a broader audience appeal. If it's more of an internal video, we kind of tend to put it on Panopto. If it's a public video, 99% of the time I think we're just now using YouTube, aren't we, Rob?
Yes, yes. For example, we have this folder here of Third Tuesday Conversations. I think you all are familiar with those. And they're under their own folder structure. And since that really is more of an internal audience, it is housed on the Panopto platform as opposed to YouTube. And you can also create playlists in Panopto, as we have here. And the platform does give you some other options, as you can see here. You can create your own bookmarks and placekeepers and notes, discussions, that sort of thing. So you can have a Panopto account. Those are created through the Canvas office. If you feel like you're going to generate enough content to justify that, then I have that link, but not in front of me. I can share the link with you where you can contact the Canvas office and create a Panopto account. But if you have something that you feel like belongs on the platform, but you're not going to generate enough content to justify creating an account, send that to me, a link where I can download that, or Michael can download that, and we'll get that placed on Panopto for you.
And Rob, if you don't mind, could you highlight maybe a little bit the advantages of playlists on YouTube and how you don't have to have things on your YouTube account to put it in a playlist that you can use?
Yes, I will. And whether it's YouTube or whether it's Panopto, playlists are a great way to organize your material. Let's see, let me find one with a few. So here is our playlist of a number of production tutorials that we've done. And it's a way of collecting that particular material into one link that we can then share. And the material included into a playlist, it doesn't have to be exclusive to that one playlist. Some of this material might also be pertinent to another playlist and could be included there as well. Your playlists are not restricted to only your own content, unless the content creator has designated that content not available for playlist. You can include it on a playlist you've created. I hope that made sense. Did I say that right?
I think you did, yeah. Yes.
So you're not restricted to only content that you've created and building up a playlist. And then once you have that, you have in this case, a single link that we can share. Oh, right here. You can just collect that and share that, and then that will be, let me just copy that and come to a new tab. Et voila. So, again, when you are organizing this much material, those folders, those playlists, especially on YouTube, since it is not a folder structure, those playlists are really good ways to keep your material organized and kind of bring some order to what can be chaos.
Sir, where would you find, if I need to, for a video, grab the the embed code to put on my web page, so it appears on my web page but plays from there.
Ah, thank you for asking me that, Michael. I'll come down here. Let's say this is the video that you want to embed to your web page, and we'll come over here to share. And this is the link that you could share if you wanted to just direct someone else to the link, and I'm sure you all know that already, but here is the embed code that you would come over and copy, and then send that to your IT folks or your web team, and then they will take that code and insert your video onto a web page. And that is right under your share button. And you see you also have social media options under there as well. So, let's see, what have we not covered? What questions may we answer for you?
I personally think this is a big undertaking for support staff. I really admire your guys' willingness to jump in there and to start doing a task like this. I know it really does feel overwhelming. Just make sure, you know, I told someone that I thought it was achievable to help you guys take a lecture and polish that up and put it on YouTube. You know, I don't really think that a specialist could hand you shots they took on a farm and say, tell the story of photosynthesis now. You know, this stuff, we need to keep it simple, and as you start developing those skills, as you start doing it, you know, Rob and I are here in Outlook. You know, you can just drop us an email. You can phone call us. Sometimes we're shooting on the studio floor, or, you know, I'm out in the field, or I'm taking photos, but we try to be accessible. We're here to help you. And I'm always as responsive as I can be, and Rob certainly is. He actually is on top of that a lot faster than I am most of the time.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing presentation. I just think, yeah, you're right. It's a lot for us, and I think I know for myself, I need to watch that over and over and kind of take it in. But very, very well presented. Thank you very much.
All right, well, thank you guys so much.
All right, you all have
Thank
a
you.
great rest
Bye-bye.
of your day.